the dark side of the cocaine addiction that they don't tell you about, right? Like, what bugs me about that shit is the way, like, cocaine's like, they make it look like if it's like weed, and weed's fucking terrible too. I smoked weed for damn near 20 years, 33, so you can do the math. You know, I damn near smoked weed for damn near 20 years, like every day. And the way they make cocaine, like, it's not that big of a deal. That's a fucking heavy drug. That's a heavy drug, man. The step above that is crystal meth. That's a heavy drug. That shit ain't light. It's processed with gasoline, acetone. You know, that's how they separate it from the plant. And then you put that shit up your nose, and you think it's not a big deal, or it's looked at as like glamorous or something. That shit ain't glamorous, bro. You know, I'm just saying this because, you know, this would mark the year where I started, like, at 30. I'm 33, so at 32. And I've done coke before, like, throughout the years, but, like, I never got hooked on it like I did last year. So this would mark the day, you know, around the same time when I started, I went on my bender, like I call it, a 6-month bender, where I was doing damn near 2 grams a day for 6 months. So that was like the start of my bender. And here's the things they don't tell you about. If anybody out there thinking about doing coke or whatever, you think it's not that big of a deal, this is the shit they don't tell you about. When you go look and you got dirty dishes stacked up in your sink for the last 3 months, bro. When your house looks like a fucking mess. When you start having paranoid hallucinations and seeing shadows behind you and shit. That's the things they don't tell you about. They don't tell you about, like, blowing blood out of your damn nose, bro. Like, and they don't tell you about how you lie about getting, like, how much you actually do. You always, like, downplay it. Like, I remember that I'd be buying, like I said, 2 grams a day down there. And then sitting here being like, oh yeah, someone gave this to me, or like always made some kind of excuse, and it was just for my fucking ego to make it seem like, oh, this ain't that bad. And I'm like, bro, that's the things they don't tell you about. Or you always downplay how long you're doing it, and you always downplay how much you're really doing, and you always downplay the effects it gives you, man. I'll tell you, check this out. This was one night. This is back last year around December. Right, so it's almost about a year ago now, but it was around December. Like, I was just racking it up in my house by myself, bro. Like, by myself, not even at no party, not at no club. I was there by myself just racking it, because I would do that shit everywhere. I go everywhere. I go to the grocery store, I was going to work, I was railed out of my mind, like, beyond belief. But anyway, I wound up having a pretty bad panic attack, like, where I'll sit on the couch, and my left arm felt like it was going numb, and like I kind of ignored it. Then it started feeling it go like numb, and it just felt just weird, and my heart started pounding like super hard, and I was just like thinking, like, am I gonna have a heart attack? And let me tell you the insanity of this shit. This is how insane that shit is when you're on it. So I go, and of course I take my dope, I jump in my car, and I go drive it like about 30-40 miles, you know, just to try to calm myself down. And I was like, I put on James Brown, and I was just driving. It was about maybe like 31 degrees out, you know, that night. You know, it was freezing cold, foggy as fuck, you know. And I just went on like a damn 40-mile drive with the blow with me too. And this is the insanity of it. And I was still doing bumps, bro. Doing that drive to try to calm down. I was still doing bumps. I came back to my house and racked up another fat line, being like, you know, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I guess. That's the insanity of that shit, man. Like, no one talks about that. They don't talk about how, like, hey, you go to blow your nose and a shitload of blood comes out, man. Like, that's like damn near your mind vaporizing, your brain vaporizing, bro, and you blowing it out in the tissue. They don't talk about that. I've been in circles where they doing hella coke, man, and you, like, motherfuckers' nose start bleeding, bro. It's like you don't think about how terrible, like, how catastrophic that shit is, and you downplay it because you know that it takes you under. You know, I have a real compassion for people who are addicted to that shit, because out of all the drugs, you know, I think cocaine is the worst. Out of every single drug, I think it's worse than heroin. I think it's worse than a lot of things, because one, the high doesn't last very long, right? The high lasts maybe 15 minutes if you're lucky, if you have some like very high quality, you know, dope. you know, the high will last like 15 minutes, and you find yourself in a constant cycle. Every 15 minutes, new line, new bump, new line, new bump. And then here's the insanity of it. You get to a point where your nostrils are so clogged you can't even breathe, but you want to still keep doing more coke. So you start pouring water up your nose to try to blow out the rest of the, you know, accumulation of the powder, to blow it out so you could do more while you're fucking tripping in the head. I'm telling you, it's insanity. It's the worst fucking drug ever made. And then now, especially nowadays, like, cause like the first time I did coke, I was like probably about 15 in like high school. Like the first time I ever did it. I did it periodically here and there, but it's so easy to get now. It's almost like, I remember when I used to, you know, like buy weed back in the day, like back in high school, like 2006, 2007, 2008, like those kind of years. Like, it was really easy to get weed, and that's how cocaine is now. It's so easy to get it. That's the shit that trips me out about it too. And just how damn near accepted it is. If you go to a bar, man, you see people going to the bathroom, they in there for about 10 minutes, man, they're racking it up. And it's just like, fuck, bro. And everybody, we all downplay that shit, man. We downplay it. Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, it's whatever. Oh, I'm not addicted. Oh, I mean, yeah, we are, man. That's bullshit. It's just like, you know, you have to be honest with yourself, man. You gotta be very honest with yourself. Here's another thing that tripped me out. This is about 3 months into my binge. You know, I looked in the mirror one day, because I'm a workout guy, you know, like, and I wasn't working out during that time period. And I'm a, you know, musician, you know, I wasn't playing drums. I wasn't making music on Ableton or nothing. I was just doing coke every day. But I looked in the mirror and I was looking at myself like, bro, like, I'm wasting away. My eyes were just sunk back, black bags on my eyes. I was only sleeping maybe like 2 hours a night, if that. You know, and I'll go and jump on the scale, and I was 138 pounds. And, you know, before I was doing that shit, I was 155, you know, bulky looking on 155, you know what I mean? Like, but I jumped on the scale, 138 pounds. Like, damn, bro, I damn near lost 15 pounds, you know. And I was like, that was like when I kind of started being like, man, I gotta find a way out of this, bro. So this is what I did, right? Let's say you're trying to like quit. The first thing you have to do is be completely brutally honest with yourself. You want to do coke, go in front of a mirror. Go chop your shit up, bro. Go fucking chop your shit up on with your credit card and your phone, get your dollar bill. Go rack that shit up and then look up at the mirror and look at yourself. So that's how the first step, man, is just being honest with yourself. You know, that's the first thing you do. And every time you want to do that shit, make sure you do it in front of a mirror so you can see what you're doing to yourself. You know, that's what kind of worked for me. And it took a little while, you know, like my binge lasted about, like 6 months. You know, I haven't done coke since about mid-April. You know, I'll never do that shit again. You know, but you have to be completely honest with yourself. The next thing you have to do, and this is the hard one, is you got to tell people around you love and care about, like family members, regardless of what they think. I think it's a really good idea. You tell them, hey, I'm going through a drug addiction right now. Just to put some accountability on yourself, you know, just to put some kind of accountability on yourself instead of hiding it. You know, that's kind of what helped me. But yeah, I'm just having kind of like a flashback today, because like I said, this is about the same time I started, like, you know, doing coke. Like, we started doing it again at 32 years old. Here's another thing people don't tell you: how bad they fuck up their credit, fuck up their money. I went from a 780 credit score to a 430. It was like 450. It was very, very low. It was in the 400s. This is the mid 400s. Dropped my credit. I had worked like a long time to get credit, because I never had credit, you know. In 2023, I wound up like, hey, breaking a huge barrier. I wound up getting like 3 credit cards, you know, which I was like managing, and I was just like, my credit was going up. I was like, dude, I could purchase some property, you know, like I always wanted to purchase land. And it got to a point where, you know, I was spending so much money on blow, like I don't even want to calculate how much I spent, because I'll probably get sick. It was a lot, man. But I wanted fucking up my credit. I wound up like just taking out loans and shit just so I could buy more blow. That's the thing they don't tell you about too, like, right? And you'll like coke, it makes you very arrogant, right? So you want to act like you're doing really good when you're on that shit. So you'll buy like very expensive things, you know, you'll make expensive purchases and just be kind of like, you know, just squandering your money to try and make it look like you're doing better than you are. But in the reality, you're in fucking, unless you're really rich, you know, you're in fucking debt, bro. Like, you in fucking debt. Your money's fucked up. Your bank account looks terrible. And you're just, even like in that, you're still just like, man, you know, I need to get some more money so I can buy another gram. It's insanity. It's absolute fucking insanity. You know, that's the thing they don't tell you about that. They don't tell you about how you start losing friends and family, man. They don't tell you about that. It's just like, oh, it's a cool party drug. No, it's not. It'll destroy you. And if you're like kind of unlucky, you know, and then the blow starts getting too expensive, that's when people step on to meth, bro. That's when they start stepping on the heavier stuff, because they're like, well, this high goes by too quick. I can get some meth and be spun out for like 8 hours, you know, and it's cheaper. That's the things they don't tell you about, man. Like, they don't tell you about that. They don't tell you what it does to your mentality. Because we, like, let's say like you ran out of money and you got to go like 3 or 4 days before you get that bag. Like, the depression you experience is insane. And that's coming from someone, I spent most of my life depressed, and I stepped out of that last year, you know, where I like started really, you know, I hate saying that, but working on myself, right? But I've really like made huge leaps and bounds, and like coming in tune with my like spirituality. You know, I was making leaps and bounds, and all that work for the years I was doing that to like, hey, get my mind right, get my mind to be my best friend, and, you know, make sure like I'm good. It washed it all away within like a couple months, you know, a couple of months. Like, I was back to like how I was when I was like 18, just apathetic and just hopeless. They don't talk about that. That's the cool party drug, right? Yeah, they don't talk about that shit, man. And they don't talk about it, man. They don't talk about when you run out of money, bro, and you can't do that shit no more. And then they don't talk about, here's the hard part, is when you know, you get to a point where you finally want to quit, and you do it. To restructure the chemicals in your brain from doing that shit for so long, man, you're gonna go through a real dark time for a little bit. So when you quit, I suggest you're around like really positive people. I also suggest that you pick up, if you don't like do something like have a hobby or something, I suggest you pick one up, like when you're quitting. Me, I was you know, I'm a musician. Like, I like doing music production, making hip hop and things like that, and like doing live recordings, play drums. That was what saved me. I went full force back into it, and, you know, 'cause my emotions were so all over the place. Like, it pretty much turned me bipolar for like a few months. But I started like just heavily playing music again, and, you know, the silver lining from that is when I quit, and, you know, even though I was going through like an intense emotional time, I made some of the best music ever made. You know, I started playing shows again. You know, now we, like, me and my guys, we're playing shows, dude. Like, I'm playing drums, doing like poetry contests, and just doing things I love to do. Whatever it is you love to do is obviously different, but there's a bright light at the end of it. But you got to get to it, and you got to get through the darkness. And I believe St. Paul said this, like, it was like a quote in the Bible, but when his disciples asked, how long do I have to stay in the dark? Like, how long do I have to stay in the dark? Until you can see in the dark. And that's basically what you're doing, man. You got to get through the rough times. If you need rehab or something, I suggest do that. I didn't have rehab. I didn't have the money for it. I just had to do it like old school, you know. Also, anybody who does that stuff, if they're your real friends and they do it, and if you tell them, I don't do coke anymore, and they kind of like condescend you, put you down, that's not your friend. Don't hang out with them, man. They should be happy for you. You know, like, I had all but one friend, you know, all my friends, the ones who were doing that shit, when I told them, hey, I'm not doing coke anymore, they're like, dude, I'm so sorry, I'll never pull that out in front of you. Those are my real friends. I had one friend who would like condescend to me and be like, oh, you can't handle it. Yeah, man, it's for like certain kind of people, blah, 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 like that kind of bullshit. That's not your friend. Yeah, anybody like that, if you tell them that you want to better yourself and they're not with it, that's not your friend. And especially dealing with a drug addiction. Like, those are straight up demons, man, for lack of a better term. But yeah, that's another thing, you know, you gotta kind of change your circle, like, around. You gotta get away from people who are doing that, or if there are people who are doing it and they're your real friends, they won't let you do it. They won't pull that shit out in front of you. They won't do that. And eventually you'll get to a point where even if they do, you're just like, no, I never want to go through that nightmare again. And yeah, definitely change your circle. All your drug dealers, all your connects, delete all of them, block them, every single one of them, all your connects. And you're gonna get temptation, man. Like, it was weird for like the first, like, let's say 4 months after I quit. I had so many people. I had, like, first time ever happened, people coming up to me, hey, you know, I got that yada. I'm like, word, like, man, I'm getting tested now. And I'd be like, nah. Or people like get a bar, hey, you want to bump? I'd be like, nah. You know, willpower comes in handy for that, because you're gonna need some willpower. And I believe in God, so like my faith is what really rooted me through it too, big time. So, you know, you're quitting, you need good circle around you. You need to have faith, right? You need to have some kind of hobby or activity that you could channel all those emotions you're going to be going through in. You see what I'm saying? Wherever it is, if you're like an athlete or something, you kind of let yourself go doing that shit, get back and working out again. Like, that's what I did too. I started working out like heavy, like more than I ever did before. Taking care, like, you know, your house becomes a mess. I don't care what anybody says. Like, anybody I've ever seen who's on that shit, man, it's like, yeah, your house becomes a mess, because it's just like how your mind is a mess, your whole house becomes a mess. Clean up your house, clean up your living space. Reach out to people, you know, if you have anybody to reach out to. If you don't have anybody to reach out to and you're watching this video, you can just hit me up. Like, I don't care, man. I'm like, whatever, man. You can talk to me about that shit. Like, I understand if you don't have anybody to really talk to. And you gotta look at it like this. You gotta look at it like, man, I don't deserve to destroy myself. And every time you're doing that, you're just destroying yourself. Not to mention too, like, they don't talk about what it does. It damn near simulates Alzheimer's. It took me a while to get my memory back, because like I was forgetting shit like crazy, man. I was forgetting shit I said to people, all kind of things, man. And like, hey, there is a light at the end of that dark addiction. And that kind of goes for any addiction, because back in the day, I used to be addicted to opiates. You know, obviously I'm an addictive personality, so I used to be addicted to opiates. And I remember I overdosed at my mom's house at like 22, and pretty much almost died. You know, and the thought in my head, you know, God rest my mom's soul, she passed away January 5th, 2020. But yeah, the thought in my head when I was laying on the side of my bed, I was like, man, my mom's gonna come and see her son dead, you know, on the fucking floor, bro. And that thought kind of went through my head a lot. And I was like, damn, you know, the grace of God pulled through that too. Just like this, like, nasty cocaine addiction. That was the darkest drug addiction I've ever been through. So, like I said, you know, have faith, get some kind of hobby, some kind of activity. Tell the people around you, and if you're like, I would suggest, like me, I was just like, fuck it, I cold turkeyed it. But I would suggest, if you're still doing it, at least taper down, man. At least taper down. At least like slowly, gradually taper down, man. But I suggest you just quit all at once, like, honestly, because that tapering down, I'm telling you, just a little trigger and you'll be back up to the same level again. So just slowly taper down, you know, surround yourself around good people. Like I said, any of your friends who do that, and you let them know that, like, hey, you don't want to do that anymore, and they try to pull you back, that's not your friend, man. That's your enemy. You completely like distance yourself from people like that, man. Those are the worst kind of people. And I don't like judging people, man. It's like, how can you sit there and see someone wanting to get out of like a dark prison, and you basically just take the key and throw it away? That's what you're doing when like they offer you dope when you're trying to quit. So, and stay positive. Start a journal too. I made a journal. I started writing about it, like, just to get the emotions out, and start connecting with yourself spiritually. You know, your thoughts are going to be going all over the place, and like, that's a good time to not be in your mind. So just try your best to get more in tune with like who you are, you know, your soul, right? So that would be my suggestion. Don't believe, if you've never did coke before, don't fucking do it. Like, fuck that shit, dude. Don't do it. Just don't do it, man. It'll like destroy you. And another thing I forgot to say too, it changes your personality. Like, I was like turning into someone I didn't even know. I was just kind of like a monster, man. It destroys your personality. Just don't do it. You know, hopefully that video is informative, and hopefully that gives you like some kind of like positive motivation. Reach out to people. If you ain't got nobody at all to reach out to, fuck it, just hit me up. It's all good. Like, I don't mind. But yeah, I hope you have a great day. Beautiful day too. Like, I'm at this park in the little town I live in. Look at that. Look at that. And I forgot to say that too. It takes the beauty out of everything. It takes the beauty out of everything you see. Like anything that used to give you like kind of like amazement, like looking at a tree or some kind of wild animal or mountains or something. You don't even care about that shit. It literally just, it destroys your soul. Or it doesn't destroy it, it covers your soul up. So hey, hopefully that helped you, and just have a great day. Peace.